So we are all learning for the first time how to interact with new tools and capabilities that have never existed. The playbooks that always worked in marketing just do not work anymore.
It is MobileGroove at Mal, but Women in Leadership, which is its 5th year, and an amazing crowd and amazing speakers, which comes to you, Paula, because you were just on stage and everyone was understanding what we're talking about, the different challenges, the opportunities, and the imposter syndrome, that big bad elephant in the room that we don't want to talk about, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
But we do talk about here because we can have our voices heard. I want to hear your voice, first of all. Paula, at Branch, it's interesting. I want to start there because it is about being more empathetic in marketing. Context is important. And I was thinking to myself, a company like Branch, which is built around that idea, but isn't it great in a way because women have that talent, don't they, to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I think about the world of AI even and how we think about the importance of providing the right context at the right time with the right level of depth. And women are uniquely good at this, I think. And I think, when you think about marketing and when you think about building teams and when you think about women in leadership, that context of being able to give people the whole story and allow them to really understand why you're making the decisions you are, how you think about the world, where you're going, where you're bringing the team with you. So much of that is so important, particularly to get women to buy in.
It does sound a little bit biased, but there is a certain quality of, we've been sort of almost trained to listen, empathize, understand, see the world from so many perspectives. It's that's exactly what you need in marketing right now because we have empathetic marketing, marketing, empathy, and the overview, the perspective, holistic, but also interestingly enough, it's all about training AI and being very patient.
Yeah. And how can you explain everything in minutia detail in a way that can really not be misinterpreted? I think women are uniquely good at over-explaining also. So that gives us a special advantage.
I think there's something there. I think there's something there. But then, there's a level of leadership where you have to be empathetic. You have to be helpful, nurturing, because we're building teams.
Yeah.
And teamwork is not top down. But then there's another level of still leading the team without being the leader, without being overbearing, because that just feeds the stereotype of being the overbearing woman who's trying to run the show. It's great to put your hands on your hips like we heard before, but if you actually went into a room like that, here I am,
pose.
I am, make room for me. That won't work. So how do you balance that?
It's not, giving out directives without giving the information behind the decision. And I think that particularly for women, we are sometimes explaining too much, but the goal of explaining for understanding and for buy-in and for commitment and allowing those disagree and commit moments as well, I think is really important to give people the opportunity to understand why you made a decision and debate you on it. And then come to the other side and make your decision both stronger and their buy-in stronger. And that's the perfect situation where you can have that healthy conflict and you can invite people to share their opinions in an area of psychological safety where they feel I'm not going to be smacked down for having an opinion that differs than my, is different than my leader or is different than the executives or whatever. Really, that is, I think, a really important way to drive leadership and to drive buy-in, allowing them to have perspectives that differ than your own and come out stronger for it.
It's good for people, but it's also good for teams and even your company, if you think about it, because we're entering an era where it's going to be so incredibly multidisciplinary. Talk to so many marketers, so many people in the industry. So I asked them questions what are you hiring? What are the skills? And they're like, you know what? We're bringing in XYZ, but we're not going to bring them in from our vertical at all. We're hiring from pharma. It's Wow, because they need the perspectives.
Yeah. I think we think that people, what has made us successful is what's going to make the next generation successful, especially when you're a leader. So you think, okay, what makes me successful? What makes my boss successful? It's understanding the rules of the road, understanding how playbooks work, understanding how they can build what has worked for them before and not do the things where they failed before. The time that we live in right now, though, does not actually reward this anymore. So we are all learning for the first time how to interact with new tools and capabilities that have never existed. The playbooks that always worked in marketing just do not work anymore. You can borrow the best playbooks, you can steal them, you can put them out there. They're not necessarily going to have and in all likelihood not going to have the success that they would have had 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I think marketers, though, have always had to do this sort of reinvention, because as soon as you try a tactic and it reaches critical mass, everybody's doing the same thing, it stops working. And so that continuous, like, try it, let it fail, let it retire and move on to the next thing. I think that is a very marketing friendly skill set anyway. And it's just only accelerated in the world that we live in right now. And so for me, what I'm hiring for, when I'm hiring for people today, it's the curiosity to go figure out what works, to be okay with failure, to be okay with learning, and to just keep an open mind about the industry and knowledge and what you think and having that change every few months. It's such an interesting shift.
How do you do that? Because a lot of people obsess about the details, and I'm a person like that. I'll just figure it out. You got here, you got this far, you'll figure out the next step. Hard work, perseverance, inspiration, perspiration, that balance. At Branch, you're leading a team, so you're hiring for people who can figure out. How do you inspire your team to consider to continue, find that in themselves?
It's such a hard time, I think, for marketers right now. And as a marketer, everyone thinks they can do marketing, and that has always been true. In today's world, everyone thinks they can do marketing even more so because they have an AI friend that can help them do marketing.
Right.
I see,
which is actually a yes man,
constantly on LinkedIn. I rebuilt my entire marketing tech stack. I fired all my employees, and I have, everything in Claude code, and I don't need people anymore. And I'm a founder, and amazing. If you don't have the budget for marketing and you can start to do some marketing and understand what that world is like, amazing. If you're thinking that you're going to take an enterprise team and transition all your people out and replace it with code, that's just not what marketing is. Marketing is about storytelling and connection and context. It's like, those are uniquely human things. And to try to automate them feels automated. And we as humans actually have a pretty high detection for automated slop.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's an era where it sort of came and was okay, and that era has passed. And so I think when you think about bringing people along, again, it's about making sure that they feel safe to try new things, because being in a place where you don't know and you're figuring it out for the first time and you're being asked to think completely differently about the way you work, that's a hard psychological place to be in, particularly when you hear these things saying we can just replace our marketing with AI. And so really it goes back to having a very strong sense of connection with your team and making sure that people feel safe to experiment and feel safe that they aren't going to be replaced tomorrow if they teach AI how to do their job, right?
Yeah, I get that. And customer connection is what's going to also follow on from that, because what I'm hearing in the industry more and more is that what stands out in a sea of sameness, which is where we're headed, will be what is genuine, what is human, what is real. So actually customer connection created by people who also understand the value of connection is going to be, guess what, competitive advantage for a change.
First party data, human experience conversations. Like when you're able to provide things of value that are new, AI can do a lot, but it can't create new.
True.
Like it's just repurposing existing knowledge. And so marketers, like, what a great challenge to think of what we can do that's never been done before, that's done differently than it's ever been done before, that surprises people. Like that, having that as your mindset and thinking like, this is a tool and I'm going to use it so that I can free up my time to think about this world where I can truly be extremely creative, extremely like on the forefront of new and different and interesting, quirky in all the best ways, and just human. Like we need to embrace that, particularly in marketing.
I like that. That's a positive look at it, because there's always like, we're going to be replaced. It's like, no, have faith in yourself. Team human cannot be replaced.
Yes.
It will be empowered. It'll be like a superpower.
Yeah.
And you've got me thinking, it's like, yeah, you're right. We can push some boundaries. What kind of boundaries would you like to push in your team, at Branch perhaps? I mean, this is going to allow you to think, not just react, but to shape and build.
When you have the opportunities to be interesting, you don't necessarily get buy-in from everyone. And so this is a really interesting thing. Like at this very moment, there's a lot of internet fodder around the new Spotify app logo. They changed it to a beautiful green disco ball. It's getting some flack, but I'll say that it's different.
It's definitely different.
It's fun and it's unique and it's something that is
like a little bit more human, actually.
Feels human.
That's what I was thinking when I looked at it.
It's like when you look at all of these apps that are like a version of a star, like everyone is moving into AI world and it's like those diamond star shaped. Like everyone is using that for their logo and everyone is thinking about like a sea of sameness. All the apps start to sort of look the same. And when you do something like that, like Spotify did, where you change your identity to be surprising and talked about, and it's like a human choice that people are going to love or hate.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about it. Like AI is optimizing for the middle, for the things that everyone is like, okay, this is good. It's fine. Like it tends to optimize for that like sameness middle.
Yeah.
And if you want to stand out, you are going to have people who hate what you're doing. And that is humanity. Like
but at least you're standing up and standing out.
You're standing out, you're being different, and you're really encouraging people to have an opinion about you as a brand. And I think a lot about brand as a marketer, because we've moved, we went very heavy into performance era. We're back sort of into brand being the last bastion when performance is really like way over optimized, harder than ever to measure. And thinking about how you show up as a business in all the channels that you have available to you. Something as simple as an app logo probably got Spotify a lot more notoriety and attention than, any sort of performance marketing could have done. And so I think that where we think about those things that get people talking, I came up in the Marcom space. And it's like the, no press is bad press type of mentality. If you can get people to feel something, that is what good marketing should do. It should get people to feel whether that's good or bad, to be able to have a visceral, emotional reaction to something that you're seeing from a brand.
It's also exciting in a way that we're past performance, right? Because now we're into like personal. Which is the differentiation, because performance is just like a bigger, better, faster thing, but it's very, very short-lived. I mean, if that's one thing that I really enjoyed at MAL this year, was hearing people talk about being in it for the long term, for the long run. The short wins, those short-term wins, that's not where success is. So I thought, yay, we're back to what marketing was supposed to be. Remember, it was supposed to be about, supposed to be customer-centric, context relevant,
Mm-hmm.
and real.
Yeah, the right message to the right person at the right time. Like, we can actually achieve what we always hoped that we could today. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. It's like the era of scale and sameness can retire, and we can think about how we build relationships with our customers.
I like that.
And
winning through connection.
Absolutely. And particularly in the app world, in the mobile world, where we have started to reach mass adoption of many enterprise apps. Many people have the apps that they have on their phone, and they're not regularly in an acquisition mode anymore. Right. And so for brands, it's about, how do you re-engage? How do you retain the customers that you have? How do you get people to pay attention to you when you have dozens or hundreds of apps on your phone that are competing for space? And so I think that that's where it starts to become a many-channel proposition, where you're building that relationship, you're building that connection with your customers. And it's not just a churn and burn where I need somebody to download an app and they're going to delete it tomorrow or the next day. Like, we want to build those lasting relationships no matter what the channel is. And I think even at MAU, where we're talking mostly about apps, really thinking about that holistic customer relationship is so important.
I mean, it always boggles my mind when I think about 300 touch points a day. Got to be smart about stitching them together, getting the story, understanding the journey. And I love it because we think about right time, right context, right person. You, Paula, were the right person to interview about this. I really did enjoy this. And I am also now inspired about the future of this and what it can be, because you've shown me that the qualities that make you a good marketer, that make this industry what it is, which are about human and connection relationship, they're coming back. I love a comeback. I love a comeback. We're back.
Me too. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you so much.